How do you make really big shifts? Maybe you've seen some announcements that I've made in the past few weeks. I have made some really big changes in my business. In some ways, it's just an iteration, right? It's a step into more. I called it my 80-20 step forward. I'm focusing more on the 20% of the things I've been doing that have made the biggest impact and letting go of the 80% of what I was doing that quite honestly didn't really matter, but kept me very busy, right? And so in some ways, what I'm doing are just tweaks, but right, in some ways, there are also major shifts happening. And I'm letting go of all sorts of, truthfully, things that I've loved, things that I'm good at, things that work really well in order to make space for things that are currently unproven. They're bigger goals, they're different goals. And if you haven't seen it yet, I'm focusing on content and topics that I've always included in my work and in my message. They weren't what I'm known for. I'm changing my entire business model. I'm changing how I earn my income. Basically, I'm scaring the ever-loving crap out of myself. And during a conversation with clients the other day, this topic came up of how am I doing this? How am I doing this? Not like, how do you build a new website and get the CRM to work off of the new URL? Because I have absolutely no idea how any of that happened, though I will tell you I was very proud of myself because I got my own new emails working. So we're not talking about that. What they were asking me was, how do I manage myself through big shifts? I have done this several times in my life. I think I'm better at it now than I was before, but that was a conversation. How do I manage myself, and how does somebody manage themselves while trying to make really big shifts, whether you're wanting to take them or you're in the middle of taking them? So I wanted to share some things that came out of that conversation, some things that really work well for me, and maybe they'll help you, because what I do, I have a title for it. I call it immersion. I absolutely immerse myself in the types of reading and learning and content and practices and people that give me the best chance at success. So currently, I am absolutely immersing myself in the mindset work it takes to take on big goals and to change my world. So think of it as a sports analogy. I love the stories that they do for behind the scenes at the Olympics, right? Think about all the activities that an Olympic athlete does to get ready for their competition. Because sure, there's practicing the skill, there's practicing the thing that they do, but there's so much more, right? It's what they're eating. It's how much rest they're getting. And I would absolutely imagine they're not surrounding themselves with anybody who tells them that they're not good at what they do or what they're doing won't work. They're not getting anywhere near another human being who says, think of this, there's already this person out there who's doing a good job at that, so you shouldn't do it. What the heck is that? No, that's not what they're doing. They use visualization tools. They use positive mindset practices. I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same thing. And just because the leap that I'm working on isn't very physical in nature, doesn't mean that I don't need just as much supportive practices in order to do my best and make it happen. So when I'm trying to achieve something, I do a variety of things to give myself the best chance at success. I put on my safety bubble. I put on what I call my safety bubble. This is in terms of people. This means I don't talk about many of the details of what I'm doing to anyone who isn't over the top excited for me. And this includes people who love me, by the way. if they don't understand why I do what I do, and most of my loved ones do not understand why I do what why I do what I do. I share tidbits, right? I'm not trying to be a jerk. I don't tell them you don't get me, so I'm not taught. It's not like that. I just don't go beyond surface responses with anyone who isn't able in my time of transition to be a massive cheerleader for me, regardless of their thoughts about right, wrong, good, bad, yes, no. I don't care if they think I'm completely delusional. Keep that to yourself for now. Keep that to yourself for now. I don't want to hear it. You can tell me all about it when I'm on more solid ground. I get a lot more rest. I get a lot more rest. I need more recovery right now. Mental stretches are just as exhausting as physical stretches. I remember now, decades ago, taking the GRE when I was in college and contemplating going to grad school. And it was like a 7-hour test. And I think I came home and slept for 14 hours after taking it. Animal training is the same effect, right? You can exhaust a dog by running the dog around, but you can also exhaust a dog by a 20, 30-minute focused training session, truthfully. So I get more rest. I'm rereading things that inspire me. This I don't understand, right? Like when we hear a song we like, we don't instantly remember all the lyrics after hearing it one time. We listen to it over and over again until we could cite the lyrics, whether the song's playing in the background or not. So if you're inspired by a book or content or somebody's talk, why read it once and then put it aside? So when I'm working on big leaps, I go back to the books that I've read that I know have helped me before, and I reread them. And I have books that I've probably read a dozen times. And each time I get a little bit more out of it because each time I'm able to embody the concepts instead of having to think about them. Just like you can sing the lyrics to your favorite song, they just come, you don't even have to think about it. Same thing with your favorite books. I reread them so that the principles that I appreciate, I get to a point where they're just there. And I don't even have to intentionally draw upon them anymore because they're just there. Another thing that I'm doing, and I highly recommend this, is I increase my self-observation and my reflection. So when I'm trying to do something big and I want to stay on top of not making it harder for myself, even on accident, I become more vigilant. That becomes the word, right? I become more vigilant about journaling. I become more vigilant about noticing limiting beliefs and negative thoughts or doubts or stories or anything that tells me no. And I don't let it throw me into a spiral of doom. I increase my awareness so that I can investigate what's going on in my head more quickly and head off potential problems before they become actual problems. So I become more vigilant with my self-observation and my reflection. Here's the thing, like whatever mindset tools work for you, double down on them, triple down on them, quadruple down on them. It comes down to immersing myself in the positive thoughts and experiences that will support me and minimize, because I don't think we know how brains work, we know how the world is. You can't remove them entirely, but I can certainly minimize the things that will harm my efforts. I love this sentence. I can't remember. This either came out of the 10 Times is Easier Than 2 Times book, or it came out of The Illusion of Money. In one of those books, because both of those books talk about tens in different ways. But one of those authors, whether it's Dr. Ben Hardy or Kyle C., says, don't turn a 10 into a 2 by just dipping your toe in it. So that's what I try to do. And just like an athlete getting ready for a competition, a student taking a big test, right? Studying, getting ready for the test. Heck, you can use the analogy of a bride getting ready for their big day and wanting to make sure everything goes right. Give themselves the best chance possible of having the best day they could. Throw everything you got at it. Give yourself the absolute best chance at making success possible for you.